Welcome to Totino-Grace High School for Northwest Suburban Conference Volleyball. Tonight, it's the Park Center Pirates paying a visit here to Totino-Grace. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox along with Janae Alderson. And Janae, a couple teams fairly young, haven't won as much as they would like early in this season, but that could make for a good match tonight. Fairly even matchup. Both teams, I think, feel like if we play well, we should be able to at least be in this one.
Yeah, and never be discouraged with some losses in the beginning of the season, but it is nice when you see a rival kind of in that same area. And now you're thinking, all right, let's get some of the basics down. As a coach, you're like, let's get some of the basics before we see those people that we lost to earlier in the season. So hopefully both teams are kind of just looking at it as an opportunity just to do what they know best and hopefully harden some of those skills they haven't had in the previous matches.
Park Center, a lot of new faces. They graduated 9. I mean, that's tough when you know that coming into the year you don't have that much experience, right?
Yeah, I mean, coming in, you have a fresh new team. You don't know exactly what you're going to get, but that's also the excitement of it, too. You have new skills, new players, but also with that, you have to gel again. And that's so hard when you're losing so many people, 9 seniors from last year. So it's that team piece along with that skills piece. But if you put it all together, by the end of the season, she'll look great.
For Totino-Grace, last year, regular season record wasn't overwhelming, but they got to a section final, and I think that did something for their program. Coach Kelsey Rice was saying, you know, it has some of the girls excited to take that next step, so they've worked hard in the offseason and playing more club ball and everything, too.
Yeah, I mean, when a section went from last year coming into the next year, I mean, from my experience, that's what led us into actually going in the state the next year after that. So having a section finals and that experience of what it feels like and that competition of what you're supposed to be getting, it's just something that fuels your fire for, okay, now we know we're in with the big dogs and all we have to do now is just sharpen some skills as a coach and as players. It just gives you a little bit of confidence.
Let's talk about key players to watch for in tonight's contest here, starting with Park Center and Allie Blomberg, their libero, and you always feel good when you have somebody in that position that you want the ball coming to, right?
Yeah, when you have a libero that is a star player, you know you're going to have a great defensive game, and when you miss some of those blocks as a hitter, you know someone's behind you, hopefully there to catch you, so it just makes that front row feel a little bit less of pressure to block a ball or maybe get one down, and then the back row is also feeling like, okay, we're in this and we're all a unit. So it's just great to have a libero back there that you know you can trust. So I'm excited to watch her play and see what she can do.
For Totino-Grace, they'll be running a 6-2 offense. One of their setters, Megan DeZurek, usually an all-rotation player, but a little bit nicked up tonight, but they still hope to get some good things out of her.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to play through an injury. It is, especially if we're not feeling 100%, whether that be an injury or something else, we don't know. But on top of that, though, sometimes that helps you drive maybe, you know, a little distraction in your head to play even better, because everyone knows you play better when you're not thinking about what you're doing. But for her, it's nice also that you can lean on your players now, and also you get a little bit more of experience with that other setter. So hopefully we'll see some things arise from both players in their kind of a need for someone to step up. So I'm excited to see her go all around and see what she does and see what the coach does too when you have some adversity to go over.
All right, we'll see who comes out on top here tonight. Totino-Grace hosting Park Center, Northwest Suburban Volleyball here on CCX Sports.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You'll also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
Welcome back here to Totino-Grace, as it says on the sign, home of the Eagles here. First time we've done volleyball here in quite some time as the Eagles host Park Center. We had this matchup a season ago at Park Center. The Eagles won that one in 4 sets as the teams being introduced here. And unfortunately, Totino-Grace had a little bit of illness going through their program, and then also on the Park Center side, their head coach has also been dealing with COVID from a week ago. She's back here tonight, but had to miss a couple of matches. So Obviously illness can be a part of it, injuries too, but that's something you just sort of have to deal with. There's a look at Andrea Emery. As we said, she said it was painful to have to miss the Osseo match. That's one of their biggest rivals, obviously, but came back and is here tonight. Has cleared the time protocols in terms of how long she's out. She said she's been asymptomatic for quite a while and wearing a mask tonight, though.
Glad to see her here. Glad to see her here.
Number 17, Antoinette Amberly Coleman.
Look at starters for tonight's contest here. On the left side, Park Center with Folks, Apollo, McIntyre, Bidwell, Rolls, McGaster, and Blomberg. Nagoli, McGeehan, Tzurek, Ashland, Dunsmore, Falcon, and Carlson for Totino-Grace. We've got a little special treat tonight, too. Kelsey Rice, the Totino-Grace head coach, is mic'd up this evening, so at times tonight we're going to be hearing a little bit of what she's had to say to her team. And
the Eagles are coached by Kelsey Rice.
we thank her for wearing that microphone. She was didn't have to have her arm twisted, though. Isaac, her husband, is our director at CCX Sports, so they collaborated on that. And let's listen in.
Watch your face. Ball, 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 ball. Good spot. Take your step, right? Get it all the way out. Get up, get up. Good timing. Good serves. Here we go. One, two, Eagles. See the ball, right? Yeah. Here we go.
So we'll be hearing from Kelsey a few times throughout the evening here, and should be an interesting matchup, as we said. Got both teams kind of building. I mean, you see the record. They've not won as much as they would like, particularly with Park Center. They had a 1 win over Fridley in a tournament, and they kind of knew that it would be a rebuilding year for them. But all you can hope for too is that you're just getting better, and that week by week the players are working their skills better and concentrating, and that's what Coach Emery from Park Center said. We just want to be competitive. We compete every night. Whether there's going to be some teams that are going to be pretty hard for us to beat, but you want to go out there and be excited to be there and compete and give it your best every night.
Yeah, that's always all you can really ask for, especially when you do have a rebuilding year. You always just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page. You get the same kind of message that you can either start this year and then build it into next year. I know for Champlain Park, ours was always day by day, night by night, and that has carried on for 4 years. So it's always nice to have a rebuilding year, because then you can start to set in stone your message and get your players on the right page. So for both teams as well. Park Center coming with a lot of energy. Also kind of right in the JV energy that they had. Didn't quite win the last set, but it was exciting. Went into extra points, 26 to 28, I believe. Totino winning, but for their JV spot. And that same energy from Park Center seems to be starting with their varsity players.
McGaster serves. We're underway here as Grace McGeehan chipping over the block there, and the Eagles will strike first. McGeehan at about 6'3". I mean, that's probably going to be one of the better weapons that we'll see out here on the court tonight.
Yeah, if someone's 6'3" in high school, you tend to set them more than others.
Lauren Falcon serving here for the Eagles. And missed the line there, so we'll be tied up at 1.
At least with serves, it wasn't in the net. And the biggest thing is always you don't want to give us a point that the other team doesn't have an opportunity, no opportunity to actually mess up. So at least it was out on the sidelines, and give it a chance for them to think about it playing it.
like the Pirates don't like the volleyball that well. Brooke Doubler getting set to serve, and they're going to ask for a new one.
You know, sometimes the volleyball can change your whole season.
Good pass here, and they'll look right side. Yeah, it's going to be off the ceiling and ultimately down there as Nagoli will get the kill for Totino-Grace. This is one thing to watch for a little bit. Not a particularly high ceiling here, so that one kind of made for trouble for Park Center. I've seen lower, but I've definitely seen higher as well. Good floater serve there. Pirates struggle to get it up, but they're able to find an open spot.
And Jay over here saving balls and giving them back to Totino-Grace. But as you can see here, it was a free ball from Park Center, but Totino just didn't recognize it that early, and their front row didn't split down sharing that court half and half, and they just couldn't get there.
McGee in a big swing, but it's dug up. Good job to get to it there by Pitton for the Eagles. Diving try, but they can't keep it up. Interesting, Park Center seems to have more lefties than what you maybe are used to. Tatum Rolls that time getting the kill there, and the Eagles will kind of have to be wary of that a little bit.
Yeah, and also being a left side is kind of a big advantage. It's like an outside hitting on the right side, so it's kind of nice because they're a great angle.
Strong serve there on the Pirates. Up by a couple. Blomberg to serve. Asked Coach Emery about their serving. She said, well, been a little up and down. And we saw that there, a great ace, and then followed by a service error from Blomberg. She said it seems to be kind of contagious. When we serve well, then they all do, and when they don't serve well, it also is contagious in that way. McGee in the serve here for the Eagles. Gonna look left side, and they tip over the block again, but recovered there.
And just drains it down. And as you can see, Wellman there, she was up, but she was not over. So when you go straight up and your hands aren't quite over the net, then it's kind of just like a target. She bats at it, and that's just two moving items trying to get a block. So it's always a little bit hard to do. You want to be solid, you want to be over net, and you want to be pressed like a wall. Just couldn't get there.
We're back out to the left side, and good body control that time for Dunsmore on a tough ball to really do much with. She ended up just going with the left hand and keeping it in. And sometimes you have to read, do a good job reading that and say, okay, I'm not really going to be able to get a swing here, but let's at least give ourselves a chance by putting it in and play, and that's what she did.
My dad always says, just live for another day. If it's not a ball you like to swing at, just tip it or roll it. And lefty. She's not normally lefty, huh?
No. Missouri coming back in. She will serve here for Grace. Trailing it by a point here in the opening set. And that one's going to be tough to pull up there, as I think she was worried about the bench and how close am I getting to the bench there when trying to pass that ball. So. Serve is a little too long. Good communication there by the Pirates as Yang was taking a long look at that one, and I think got some help from the bench too to let that one go. And so Park Center will get the serve back here.
Yeah, Park Center does have quite a lot of energy and a lot of communication, and as a team that's still building and in their rebuilding year, that's something you love to see, because even when you're losing, you never stop talking.
Off the ceiling, and the Eagles do stay with it and get it over. And that one into the tape as the Pirates trying to attack middle with Abby Bidwell, but did not get it over, so we're tied up at 6 again now, and Dunsmore will serve.
Yeah, and Bidwell had a great idea. She had that armpit of the right shoulder of 20, but just couldn't quite sneak it over on time. She was late to the hit.
Overpass there, but now the Eagles scramble to get over in position. Coming back middle with it there. Dunsmore's there for the dig. Kind of a miss hit there, but play on. Pirates will get it over. They're hustling. Dump by DeZurek. Park Center stays with it, though, and get it. The point for Bidwell. Wow. They're fired up. I mean, the effort you love. They were not willing to just watch a ball hit the floor.
No, and there's Blomberg. You said earlier to watch out for her. She's just picking up tips and made their team live for another day. And at the end of the day, they did stay aggressive, and their middle Bidwell did swing on it instead of giving a free ball, and that gives a little bit of confusion for Totino on the other side, because with the swing, you don't exactly know where it's going to go.
Evelyn Lee into serve here for Park Center. They're up by 1.
Ooh.
Chip to the outside, and good hustle to recover that one. That one's going to be too long. Almost got the job done. It was really good hustle by McGaster to keep that ball in play, and then good talk by Totino to not play that one as it was just headed out. Carlson to serve here for Grace. And that pass into the net. Not really anything McGaster could try to do with it, so it's an 8-7 lead here for TG.
Yeah, and you got Apollo there tying her shoe. For everyone at home, it is a great tactic to slow down the game, especially when you don't have your libero Blomberg back there to give some serve receives. So give serve receive some time to sit there and talk it out after an ace.
Much better pass that time. And it leads to a kill for Apollo for Park Center.
Yeah, finding that middle of the court looks like to be working for Park Center. See if they continue to go there and see if they continue to kind of exploit that, and whether Totino-Grace starts to figure out that's where they're going to go.
McGaster, another left-hander here. Oops, that serve into the ceiling.
So Park Center has a higher ceiling at their place, don't they?
A little bit, although theirs isn't the highest around either. But
I think that's probably one of the biggest things about volleyball. Your venue does count.
yeah, and even that serve, I don't know that it necessarily would have been short. It was hard to tell. It just had a lot of arc on it. But and Pirates not able to get that first pass up, so it'll be an ace for Falcon here as Grace into double figures now, leading 10-8. And service error for her.
And I love Park Center. Their energy is just something, if you're here in the gym, you just love. No one's really saying anything as far as fans, but Park Center is bringing their own energy. And on top of that, when they make a mistake, their teammates are coming together. They're not going off on their own island, so it's great to see. So love to see they're just continuing to go forward, even after a missed pass.
McGeehan will send it over. Pirates get an opportunity to get into their offense. Dug up now. Ooh. McGeehan had it blocked. Good job there by McIntyre. Scramble, and they're not going to recover. Good point there. Good effort both ways.
Yeah, just a good rally overall, and it kind of started with that, obviously that tip, and the libero on their side, Carlson on Totino, recognized it easily. She saw that open hands, the universal sign, and just picked it up. Got blocked, but they got that pickup as well, and just led to fight another day. Park Center's playing well too.
Emma Pitton with the serve. Big swing there for Rolls, and ultimately Eagles not able to get that pass, and Dunsmore was struggling to figure out a way to try and tip that one over and couldn't do it.
Yeah, Rolls is finding her place on the court, and as a junior, you kind of like to lead and get that position for next year, so hopefully she's finding herself here as the year goes on.
Blomberg gives the serve back, though, with that one into the net. 12-10 lead here for Totino-Grace. Alex McGeehan to serve. And off the ceiling, they're not able to recover.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a home field advantage here as far as the ceiling, I'll tell you that. But Park Center, they kind of just talked about it, which is great, still communicating, and they're back to it, ready to go.
McGeehan able to handle that one. Dunsmore pushing it toward the corner. Tough ball to handle. Not too bad a pass considering. And that'll be off Blomberg. Hard to tell if that one might have been headed out. Cross-court hit with plenty on it, and the Eagles are up by 4.
Yeah, and Blomberg not as tall as 6'3" McGeehan, so she probably doesn't know exactly if that's going to be in or out. She has to kind of feel her own self as a body, but her teammates were screaming out, just couldn't quite hear it.
And another one off the ceiling. And here's where, a good serve can get things started in the right direction, because obviously you're trying to pass that first ball, and if you're having trouble handling it, the chance of hitting the ceiling are a lot greater.
Yeah, and especially with McGeehan and being in the back row, technically Park Center has the advantage, but McGeehan's just putting it on him.
Tip there, and the Eagles scramble and get a free ball over. Off the tape, but it's dug up, and then Ashland unable to get that one over. Park Center breaks the momentum a little bit there.
Yeah, and they have to be feeling good now that McGeehan's out of the rotation. And by the way, it was good for McGeehan from Park Center to be back there just because she's a middle. They don't pass as much, so they could have sided out a little quicker, but now with the serve.
Yeah, Rolls, they have had a little bit of issue with serve here tonight. Zurich will come back in here for Totino-Grace, and Yang back in for Park Center. Official checking substitutions here to make sure we're all good. Blomberg gets to it, and it'll drop in. I think everybody stopped playing. They thought the ball was going to be out, first on one side and then the other.
Yeah, there was that initial confusion because the ball, Totino touched it because it was going out. Blomberg realized that they stayed alive because she touched it. She went and dove for it, and that's what Blomberg's been talked about for. She's just living. She's playing the game.
Dunsmore a swing, but it's too long. Eagles asking for a tip on the block attempt, but both the referees saying no, they don't see it that way. I actually thought TG played a serve that was going to be out there anyway, but
I would agree.
Folks to serve here for Park Center. That one off the block and down as Bizdock able to put it away. Maybe one of their best attacks, I think, so far. I mean, everything about it was sharp. Got the ball to the outside, and she kind of beat the block there.
Yeah, great set. They're set right where she wanted to. It's a little bit more inside, so the block was more confused and whether to go all the way out to the pin, and now we're playing.
Dunsmore, good serve that Blomberg couldn't get the pass on target. That one had a lot on it. We're in a spot where we can see the serves at this end particularly well, and she had plenty on that serve. And that one's too long.
Blomberg thought about it. Kind of put her hands up, put it back down, and had her teammates out there calling in and out.
So Park Center, Coach Emery and their assistant Michelle Chen hanging in this first set. They're down by 4. Ashland getting a swing there. A little bit unorthodox. It was actually a pretty good pass over, and I don't think Park Center was quite ready for it. It ended up with McGaster just kind of reaching.
Yeah, great out of system ball by Zurich.
Strong hit there. Carlson able to dig it up though, and then a missed hit.
Yeah, always living for another day. That's always the best thing to do, but kind of seeing a lot of two-handed sets over the net from Totino at the moment. And as the game is feeling less less like they wanted to as far as trampling over and kind of just getting more points than they have right now. So playing it safe, but sometimes you got to be a little more aggressive too.
Here's McGeehan. That was plenty aggressive.
There it is. I'd take everything back. Wow, and you can just see the set's perfectly placed right at the paint. The middle blocker was a little bit confused as Zurich did jump set. For those people at home, when you jump set, you cause a little bit of confusion because you don't know if it's going to go back or forward with that little bit of disruption when you jump. Made that middle fink on Park Center side, and McGeehan had no one but one blocker up for her.
Falcon with the serve and an overpass there, and McGeehan patrolling the middle, and her eyes lit up on that one, and she put it away.
Yeah, let's just take another look at it. Basically, Park Center just set her up, and she took advantage of it. That was some type of play.
So a 6-point lead now for the Eagles at 21-15.
Jeez, Libby. That's just a kind of, when you take a timeout after an overpass, usually that is when a timeout would come. You kind of have starting to feel from Park Center their energy isn't quite there. Some mistakes are coming faster, more in a row. So totally understand the timeout, especially after two monster kills by one of their best players, McGeehan. What do you think?
Yeah, I think definitely a good time for that timeout. If nothing else, just to break their momentum a little bit, kind of take a little breath.
Yeah, I know sometimes when I look at my coach, I just feel like, hey, can you just call a timeout so I can breathe? That's all. And then you get back into it and your mind sets back. So hopefully just Park Center just comes out with that energy. You can see, I love that. You got JV over there cheering for their varsity. So got that energy back and hopefully get that intensity back as well. Also seeing that Blomberg's not in for this rotation, so it's a hard rotation to get out of.
Falcon the serve. Jumped over here. Carlson getting it ahead and then down the line with it. And they get the kill. Mobang Wellman.
Yeah, and Wellman Totino's obviously recognizing Blomberg is not in play right now and puts it exactly where she should be. And unfortunately, Lee couldn't take advantage of it.
Another one off the ceiling, and it actually came back to the same player, Folks. So that will give Totino-Grace an 8-point lead as they've started to pull away late. And another one off the ceiling. Park Center. It's a hard thing to have to tell your girls, but obviously they're going to have to be a little bit more conscious of not passing the ball so high.
Mm-hmm. That is a hard thing to think about.
This time they get it done. Pushed over here. Now Carlson will go to the outside with it. Overpass there. McGeehan hanging in the air. Didn't really get a lot of it. Carlson will come back to the left side. Way across court. Nagoli will put it away, and Totino-Grace takes the opening set. 25-15. Pirates hung in for most of it, but then the Eagles pulling away to win by 10 at 25-15. One set in the books here at Totino-Grace. And we'll be back with set 2 here in just a moment as they win it on this point. Welcome back here to Totino-Grace High School. Along with Janae Alderson, I'm Jay Wilcox. Totino-Grace defeating Park Center 25-15 in the opening set. It was back and forth for quite a while. Pirates had some leads along the way, but then down the stretch, Grace just kind of slowly but surely pulled away. I thought their serving played a role in that, certainly. They forced Park Center into some errors, and unfortunately for them, the ceiling coming into play on what probably 5 or 6 points, I think.
Yeah, and all kind of a good pass. I mean, not necessarily on target, but passes that would have been high and playable balls. But can't help when the home field advantage is there. But I know when we were playing back in the day, John would definitely make sure that we practiced so that the ceiling was not a factor. But it's something to think about. It's hard. It's hard to think about, especially when you're playing.
Well, that's the thing, too. You don't want to think too much about it and, alter the way you normally do things either.
Yeah. Who would have thunk it? Just ceiling's getting in the way today. But hopefully, I'm pretty sure it's probably a talking topic in the huddle that's probably one of the biggest things that stuck out for Park Center. It's just the serve receive game not being totally there, but we'll see what happens after this.
Lauren Falcon serving to begin set 2. Big swing, but missed there as McIntyre with an aggressive attack out of the middle, but didn't quite hit the corner.
Yeah, great pass, though. Great pass. Starting out great.
Yeah, I like that she went for it, too, and wasn't hesitant about it. It's going to be an ace off the tape there for Falcon.
At least best thing is that there's all smiles when they're getting up. Still early game.
Get into their offense this time. Oh, let's see. It's going to be off the ceiling and over, which obviously you can't do in a goalie. Pretty good reaction to get to that ball, and this time they're kind of victimized by the ceiling because that ball would have been in, but it can't be played over and hit the ceiling on the way to the other side. You can play it obviously off the ceiling on your own side. McGaster to serve here for Park Center. McGeehan almost overran that one. It ends up being a little bit long. They weren't quite on the same page with the set.
Yeah, just a little bit early. Also kind of behind her. She thought the set was going to be a little bit more inside, a little bit more on the net, but found it behind her and still took a big swing, which resulted in it going out of bounds.
Come right side this time, but a misfire from the goalie. So Park Center into the lead at 3-2.
Yeah, a couple different miscommunications. Don't know if this is their normal setter. Again, the other setter is having a bit of holdback, but some miscommunication as far as where the set location should be at the moment.
Great serve there. Carlson, a late charge, got to it, but not enough to get that pass up. So McGaster will get an ace there for PC. Set for McGeehan here, and Blomberg hustling. They'll get it over. This time McGeehan from the middle, and able to get it done as the block up. Almost timed it right, but not quite exactly, and it went off the left hand there, McIntyre.
Yeah, it is hard when the other side, or Totino for McGeehan, she did change her pace. Usually always hitting hard, but when you throw in a throw for one of those hits, the other side's block for Park Center can't time it as much because they aren't timing it to what it used to be. So just came up a little bit too early and it drained in front of her.
Oh, that one will crawl over there for McIntyre. Dunsmore had it blocked. And that ball probably was headed out, but they'll play it, and ultimately it leads to a point for Park Center.
Some pretty fast sets on Totino-Grace's side, particularly only for number 5, Dunsmore. As you can see with some of the other hitters, she has them a little bit higher. Just couldn't quite connect on that last one.
Massacotti with the serve here. Here's McGeehan. And that one will drop in. Park Center getting a little momentum going here.
Yeah, that second ball is usually for the setter. And number 4, Falcon on Totino-Grace's side just didn't quite say help in time. So Libero was under it and was expecting for Falcon to come in and get it.
Pushed over here. Carlson getting to it. Here's McGeehan with the swing, but Blomberg dug it up. Oh, going to be net violation against Park Center, so point for TG.
Ooh, and Park Center on a run there, but that's if you're Blomberg, you do feel a little bit hurt when you get a good dig, but your front row just made an unfortunate error, but great for Park Center side. Blomberg's all smiles, so she's all right. Great dig as well.
And nice block there by Rolls.
And if you're McIntyre, after getting one net violation, you go ahead and say thank you over to Dunsmore for repaying the favor.
Blomberg will serve here for Park Center. They lead it 7-4 in set number 2. Totino-Grace won the opening set. Ooh, good serve there. Dunsmore chipping, but Rolls blocked it. And Dunsmore gets another chance, and this time cuts it sharp cross court.
Yeah, and although sometimes tipping does help when you're swinging over and over and over again, you'll still see here for Dunsmore when she tipped one, the block kind of already timed it, and so she saw the other time that the block's timing only for her tip, went ahead and ripped one across court, went for a full swing, and that paid off.
Zurich with an error on the serve. I thought you made a good point earlier, Janae, that at times it does feel like Grace hasn't been aggressive enough, that they're settling for tips and playing it a little bit too safe, possibly on their attack.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take one rip just to feel what it feels like just to hit. But it's also great to make sure that your feet get to the ball, and for that one hit for Bizdock, she couldn't quite see where it was. It wasn't in front of her, and so she took a swing anyway and went out of bounds.
And another swing and a miss there. Well, not entirely, but into the net there from Bizdock. So biggest lead here for Park Center, 10-5 now. Rolls with the serve. And that'll be an ace.
There's just a little bit of communication breakdown right now for Totino, which is great, easy fix, but it just needs to be done right away.
And another ace for Rolls. Park Center on a roll. Kelsey Rice wants a timeout as her Eagles struggling in serve-receive here in this last handful of points.
Yeah, Park Center, they found it earlier kind of in their hitting game. That middle of the court for Totino-Grace is a great place for them as far as scoring. And now they found it in the serve game. So they're kind of just confusing that player on that left side. There's 3 of them. So when they do go ahead and transition to do their jobs, now they have to think about passing a ball first before where they didn't really have to do that. So now the front row has to talk to the back row, and that's something they aren't used to because it hasn't been exploited all game. And Park Center's kind of rolling with it, looks like.
Yeah, those last couple points, the Eagles looked really hesitant about, first of all, who should take the ball, but even then, when they decided, they just didn't look comfortable going after it there.
Hesitancy in sports, I mean, you know, Jay, never works out.
See if Rolls can keep the run going here for PC. Another good serve. And that one is too long as Bizdock has had some trouble here, the sophomore, with a couple of missed hits here, so the Pirates continue to build on the lead. Dunsmore in the middle. Chip to the outside, and Zurich couldn't keep that pass up. Everything going Park Center's way now.
Yeah, and just like still kind of losing out on the communication piece, as you saw in the middle of the play, Dunsmore and her middle were still trying to get set up as the ball was coming over the net. Couldn't quite get it and Zurich was a little confused, so.
Blomberg read that dump pretty well. Dunsmore sending it deep, but Pirates were ready. Blomberg getting a swing. I don't generally think of a libero in that kind of attack position, but came through with a strong hit.
Yeah, and for all my volleyball fanatics out there, yes, she is a libero who jumped, but she wasn't above the top of the net, so it still counts, and she isn't in violation of a back row attack. Beautiful hit.
Nice dig there to keep this point alive for Park Center. And scramble, and finally the Eagles will break the string.
This is exciting. Now they have one of their strongest servers back, with who we observed earlier had a great swing and a great float on the ball. Doesn't have Blomberg down the line this time, but looks to be in her sights. Let's see if she can go on a run here.
Dunsmore, good serve. They get it up though.
Ooh.
Big swing there, but dug up. Pushed over that time by Bizdock. She'll get another try here and sends it over. Let's see. We had a net violation on Bizdock. As it was, I don't think actually hitting the net, but more crossing her under it with her foot as she was trying to get to it.
Yeah, just took one foot in the wrong direction. She did line up with the set and then try to recover to actually go to where the ball was going to land and couldn't quite get her balance.
Great serve by Foltz. And then an overpass put away by Bidwell.
Just going their way, as you said earlier. Park Center's finding a little bit of life.
Folks, another pretty good serve. Long run for the Zurich. And that one into the tape there as Debler with the swing, but couldn't get it over. So Totino-Grace, they're kind of in the spot where now they can't afford to trade points anymore. They're going to have to put together a little bit of a run if they're still going to have a shot in this second set. Tipped over there. Carlson gets to it. Now McGeehan with the left-hand tip. Wasn't necessarily by design there, but being 6'3", she still had plenty of room to get to that one and make a play on it.
Yeah, and even though it's not by design, she went in aggressive, and that means the other side thought she was going to hit it. And she went in and tipped and got them all on their heels. Oh.
And net violation there against Park Center. There was some confusion on to who that ball was even set for. They almost ran into each other attacking there. Somehow she snuck it through the block, but they made contact with the net as well. Bidwell, that one was off the tape, not a block. So now it's Park Center's turn to have a little bit of trouble here, and Coach Emery's going to call a timeout. Still got a nice lead, but they've seen Totino start to put together a little run here, 3 in a row.
Yeah, and it's always hard when someone's having a nice lead, and then you start to feel that they're having their own lead, their own little pushback. And as a coach, you just want to make sure that you remind Park Center, you're kind of in control here. You just have to get 1 point at a time. Don't win it all in once. And just do your job the best you could do. If you're a libero, dig your best. If you're a setter, set your best. And if you're a hitter, put it down for your team. So let's see, as far as Totino-Grace, it's just do everything you can 1 point at a time, and don't remember that you won the first game and that you still have some things that you can string together, and we'll see what happens. Park Center has some of the best energy I've ever experienced, I'll tell you that.
Carlson serving for Grace out of the timeout. Ooh, it's a short serve, nearly dropped to the floor. Chipped off the block and down by Bizdock there for Grace, so they are within 6.
And for Bizdock, she has to feel like seeing one hit the floor finally, she's just like huge sigh of relief. You saw it physically. She just took a breath and said, thank goodness.
And that's an ace. As a diving try by Yang, but the previous serve almost was an ace as well. So Carlson serving aggressively here. Eagles to within 5. And they'll scramble here. Blomberg sends it over. That one nearly hit the ceiling. And Carlson cannot get it over.
And great pickup for that service save for Park Center. It started with kind of an iffy pass, but Libero again coming in with the back row hit, just willing to put it all out there. So Blomberg's really showing why a lot of people have been talking about her lately.
Bidwell way out with that one.
Totino-Grace looking for another point here.
In to serve, Falcon. Big swing, but denied there by McGeehan.
Yeah, set just died inside, which means it didn't quite get out to the pin or that red and white pin that you see on the TV. So the block really didn't have far to go in order to block that player. So all they did was stand there, jump up, and they were there to kind of capitalize on the missed set.
That went into the net, and double contact called there. Ball handling error on the Pirates. Started again with the good serve, and before it was like, well, we're not close yet, but we're starting to make some progress. But now they got Park Center a little worried. They're back to within 3.
Yeah.
And again, the miscommunication there led to a late stab at it.
Just seems to be I don't know why, it just seems to be the first thing that breaks down sometimes. And also Park Center kind of struggling with that short serve. Used it against Totino, and Totino decided to use it against Park Center here. So, and then you could see earlier, coach was asking their service players to take a step up, and Totino noticed that, put one deep in the court. So they're definitely playing that serve and service game, and at the moment, Totino is winning. But Park Center was winning earlier, so we'll see what happens as far as the next steps. And this game's not over. We have a lot left to play. But I imagine if you're Park Center or you're Totino, both of them pretty evenly matched, as you said earlier. And I like this. Both sides have some good hitters as well. And McGeehan, both their middles have been playing quite key parts as well. So great to see that they're incorporating their middles. As a former middle, I say thank you.
Falcon again with the serve. Pushed over. McGeehan will send it right back, and there's a gap in the middle there, and it drops in. Grace within a point.
Anything you can do, I can do better. That was honestly great court awareness as well from McGeehan. She saw that. She pushed it over, but Park Center was trying to get back into their place and didn't really realize the ball was coming over.
Yeah, it wasn't what I expected either. I think it just caught him off guard. She kind of took a little quick look, and there's another ace for the Eagles, and we are now tied up. It wasn't long ago they were down by 10.
Gosh. Well, it's a big shout out to some serve runs without them ending it for themselves. So Falcon really putting it on for their team right now.
Knocked over. McGeehan will push it right back, and then sent over. Another free ball there by McGaster. McGeehan getting a swing and puts it away as Falcon able to get that set up.
Yeah, and her set are connecting. I don't know what it is, but even when even when McGeehan's not even in rhythm, the setter finds her.
And the string broken there as McIntyre will get the kill for PC.
Yeah, basically middle to middle tonight. That's probably both teams' biggest asset is just setting their middle when they can. It's most effective for both, and they're realizing it, and both middles are trying to block them as well.
Go to McGeehan on the outside. McGaster hustles up to it. And a misfire there by Wellman.
Yeah, and kind of to what McGeehan did earlier. It wasn't on purpose, but that overpass just made Totino not be able to set up quite as fast as they wanted to. And Wellman just really couldn't get back to her spot to actually give a full approach. So
McGeehan will roll one to the middle. Blomberg a dive. They're not going to be able to get it up, though. So tied at 20. Fifth and back into serve. Emma Pinton, the defensive specialist for the Grace. See what she can do with the serve. And an overpass there, and McGeehan nicely putting that one away.
And showing why she is a senior, has been making some smart plays. No one was where she put it.
Roll's going to be too long with that one. 22-20 Grace, as they've really gotten up off the deck here. They were down big for a good chunk of this set. Blomberg will send a free ball over here. Gonna come to McGeehan. Oh, but it's blocked. McIntyre timing it up.
Yeah, and McIntyre and all of Park Center now starting to catch on that wherever McGeehan is, they're gonna set her. And so as you can see here, McIntyre just sits there and waits for her other opponent, her other middle on the other side, and gets her on the way up.
And into the tape though from Rolls. McGeehan to serve here. Totino-Grace trying to complete the rally after being down big. Blomberg off the tape. Nice job to dig that one up.
And that one set was honestly a very good set. I don't think Wellman really understood that she was going to push it all the way to the pin. Sometimes it always doesn't make it. Just took one step in the wrong direction. Couldn't quite recover to get her feet under the ball, where it was a little wider than she thought.
Pirates scrambling here. Blomberg, that one is going to be out. Good effort, but just long, and it's 24-22.
Great call. Great call. Got some good line judges tonight. Great refs as well. It's been an even game on both sides.
Zurich to serve here. Tipped over, and Eagles scramble and get it over, and it's going to drop in. Wow, it looked like that was going to be Park Center's point for sure. But the Eagles, with some extra effort, able to keep that ball up and then over, and then Park Center couldn't quite recover. So a great comeback in set two for Totino-Grace. So they are now up 2-0. 25-22 Eagles in the second. We'll be back for set number 3 in a moment.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
Welcome back here to Totino-Grace. The Eagles won the first set fairly easily, but Park Center certainly looked like they were about to take the second set. They were up 17-7 at one point, but then Kelsey Rice and the Eagles put together a nice serving run, chipped away, and before you knew it, they had passed them by. And Park Center still battled back a little bit at the end there. It looked like they were going to possibly force extra points anyway, but it didn't happen as Grace ended up scrambling and getting the ball over that looked like it was going to be down, and they win it 25-22. McGaster will serve for Park Center to begin set number 3. And that serve is going to be wide. Good talk there by Grace. You talked about it earlier here. There are not a lot of people here, but it's a good atmosphere. It's loud in here, and the younger team from Park Center over there cheering, and just partly the way the gym is constructed. It's fairly small, and sound bounces around quite a bit in here, but it's been a good atmosphere.
I guess I really thought about it. I felt like there's so many more people here, and now when I look around, you're right. It's another realization that it's really just Park Center.
So even up early in this third set. McGeehan will send it over. And that one way out wide. They do get it over, though. Free ball back and forth here. Great effort on the dig, and another by Dunsmore. And then a misfire there by goalie.
Yeah, great effort by both sides. Dunsmore and also McIntyre just slapping it back. But ultimately, it was a set that really Nagoli couldn't get her feet to, and still took a swing, and it was just below her.
McGeehan chipping that one over, and it's 2-2.
McGeehan really just showing her maturity. She really switches up her shots quite often. She's aggressive when she needs to be, and then she also has aggressive tips when they have to happen. She's very smart in picking what she wants to do, and also makes Park Center guess in what she has to do. So it's kind of cool to watch.
Pitton serving here for Grace. Rolls a big swing, but into the net.
I love what Rolls was trying to do. She saw that there was a block in front of her that was just going straight up. Looked like she was going for hands, going wide there, but over-rotated and also turned her hand. Just couldn't quite get it over.
And that one will drop in. And once again, Park Center a little bit hesitant. You're not seeing the communication on that ball there. Obviously, it was high enough that somebody should have been able to get to it, but they kind of hesitated. And net violation there against McIntyre.
Yeah, the net violation happened before the ball hit the ground, so it's whatever happens first. And unfortunately, McIntyre made a great play, great swing, but couldn't quite save her body from hitting the net.
To the outside, and Fulton's unable to get to that one fully there. So now Grace up 6-2. You wonder about the momentum. I mean, obviously it can change back and forth, but Grace had to feel really good about the way they came back. And for Park Center, you wonder if they're a little discouraged at having played so well to build that lead and then see it kind of trickle away at the end there.
Yeah. High school having 5 sets for a match, it is a little bit harder to do 3 sets, especially when you're already down 2. It takes a lot to mentally come back from that. So Park Center is hanging in there, but it does look as if it's a little deflated.
Rolls tipping it over here. McGeehan trying to put that one away, but Blomberg got to it. Pirates scramble back into position, and that ball is in.
But there is that energy again. Every time they make a good play, it seems to revive them just a little bit. And although, as you can see here, Pithan did have the right idea. She saw it was going to be a tip, but ran forward a little bit too preemptively and saw that it was going backwards and had to run forward to go backwards on that last play.
Well, they stuck with it off the ceiling. I mean, maybe a little more used to it has been Park Center, as you mentioned. McGeehan will get a big swing here.
Put something on that one. A little faster set, too, and so it just looks to be very familiar with her set of Falcon there. So obviously they've had a lot of time together, and she's really taking advantage of it.
McGeehan with the serve here. 8-3 Eagles lead. Rolls too long with that one.
Yeah, Roll's just not quite getting up as she was in the beginning of the game. The sets are dying a little bit more inside, and her first step isn't towards the ball, so she still has to stay on the ground while she swings.
Sent over there by Blomberg. Cross court with it. Blomberg's there to dig it up. And this time into the tape. And Coach Emery's going to take a timeout here for Park Center as everything kind of going Grace's way. And they lead it by a score of 10-3. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Coach Kelsey Rice of Totino-Grace mic'd up here tonight. We're going to listen in on a little bit of what Kelsey's had to say this evening.
Lots of chat needs to be going on, okay? Lots of energy. Floor is open every time. Here we go. Gotta go out there and do our thing. Blockers, make sure that we're paying attention to where the hitter is because they're kind of going all over the place. Make sure that we're moving that block with wherever that hitter is, okay? Let's go. We're going back into the same pattern again, so we're just hitting the same people. Make sure that we're splitting it up. We're hitting all different spots. Cool? Everybody else, lots of energy, lots of communication right off the bat. Let's not play scared. Let's go out there and just crush the ball, okay? Here we go. Eagles on 2. 1, 2, Eagles.
Good to get some insight. She's a pretty calm presence, it sounds like, in the huddle. Some coaches are, yellers, and she just kind of was patiently explaining the way things should go out there for her team. You like to hear that.
Yeah, I love the way that she holds herself. I mean, obviously she has a great team under her, and even earlier when Bizdock was kind of in a rut and she was right next to the bench, Kelsey looked over and said, hey, you got this, let's go. And it's just that emotional and moral support from your coach. It always is nice to have, and it looks like there's some water on the floor. But yeah, just that emotional support from your coach on the other side of your player, especially when you're in a rut and you see your coach is like, hey, you can do this. As a player, I'm telling you, it means the world. What would you like, a yeller or a calm demeanor?
I'm gonna go with the calm demeanor. Dunsmore might win the MVP there. She was like, well, we don't need that towel. She dove on the floor and used her jersey to soak up some of that water there too.
MVP, great serves and great jersey placement.
McGeehan with the serve.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Pirates again kind of standing around looking at each other. That one just didn't communicate. And honestly, you'd rather have 2 people go for it than 0 people go for it too in a spot like that.
Mm-hmm.
Off the block. And that one's going to be into the ceiling there as Ashland puts her hands in her face like, oh.
Yes, she knows her own ceiling, but it did start with a great block touch from Wellman and a great up, but just couldn't quite finish the play.
Rolls with the serve. And they weren't quite on the same page there as they tried to set it middle for Bidwell, but she didn't really have an approach going there and just kind of, they got out of system and out of sync there. Dezurek will serve here for Grace. They're up 2-0 and up 12-4 in this third. Ooh, off the tape. Blomberg stayed with it though. And a nice tip. Carlson, good effort though to dig it up. Bidwell too long with that one. Good idea in terms of where she aimed, but just didn't quite keep it in.
Yeah, corners for middles are their best friend, and Pitham seems to be a little bit far up from her base, so that's where she has if she wants it. Wow.
Great effort to get to that one, and it's going to result in a point. Pitham there saved them there. There was a lot of space in the middle of the floor, and she just had to make a last-second dive at it. Pushed over. Carlson gets there. The chip by Ashland. Pirates again a little indecisive. Here's Dunsmore coming over the top. This time they'll come back right side with it down the line. Good effort, but nice idea there by Bisdock, and it ultimately reached the point. Blomberg read it and got to it, but just couldn't keep it up high enough for a teammate to come help.
Great touch.
And there's a serving error by Zurich, but overall, Grace, I think, has served the ball quite well. I mean, if you're looking at reasons that they're winning this match, that would certainly be one of them.
Yeah, and it's also, you can also tell from both teams kind of, Totino's in the driver's seat right now, and you could tell even when they make a mistake, it's just get back to work, they're smiling, and their passing has, there it is, their passing has been impeccable this whole game as well.
Dunsmore the swing, it's off the ceiling. Pirates though stuck with it. Dunsmore chipping with the left hand this time. And that one is going to land out. Ooh, a little bit of a break for Grace maybe, but.
Yeah, no one was quite there. It seems to be that right corner, that right side of the court. Someone always has to recover, leave this for a free ball. And Park Center's trying to take advantage of it, but just that one wasn't on purpose, but they have been trying to take advantage of it quite often. But
and Dunsmore, they've had a couple of serving mistakes here down the stretch of this third set.
Which usually happens when you start to get a little comfortable. You feel that the other team isn't playing their hardest, and then you're like, get to the back of the line, and you're like, oh, I could just throw it up and serve it. But it is hard to stay focused when you are in that kind of mindset when you're Totino-Grace.
And a big swing there and put away as that time Bisdock hitting out of the middle and got it done.
Yeah, and Kelsey Rice talking about it earlier. Switch up your players, stay aggressive, and now we're seeing Bisdock out the middle, which we haven't seen all match. So it seems like their players are not afraid to change things up or switch it up in order for the other side to, Park Center in this situation, to see something different.
Pirates will get it over. Strange in that the first pass wasn't a very good one at all, and somebody seemed like they were in a strange position, but it turned to come right through Apollo. But ultimately not able to get this last one up, and it just starting to feel a little bit of an inevitable right now. Park Center, they're still battling, but it's just not going their way. And Apollo kind of took her eye off that one.
And great idea going down the line, but just couldn't quite get her arm swing all the way to the top of her reach before she swung all the way through. So, but it's fun to watch. You can see Park Center, they're still trying their hardest. They're still going for it. Blomberg had a great up, even though they're down by quite a bit. But on Totino's side, kudos to them. Although their serves, they've missed a couple. It's all right because they've been being pretty disciplined as far as switching up their players and also executing what they want to do. So as long as they stay strong behind the line, I could see this finishing up kind of soon. But again, what we saw last match, not everything happens as we see.
Coach Emery's parents there, as you see Randy Olmsted on the left, the former Park Center head coach, and his wife Cindy, who has been a vital employee at CCX as well. We get the Pirate Volleyball updates when you walk by the front desk and talk to Cindy a little bit here. So been a family coaching tree there after Randy retired, stepped down, and then we've got the family situation on the other side with our director Isaac Rice and his wife Kelsey coaching at Totino-Grace. And a misfire there as the Eagles hit 20 now. Taylor Carlson serving here for TG, trying to win their fourth match of the season. Free ball chance here for the Pirates. Good strong hit, and it's a kill for Apollo.
Good to see a point after a timeout. Seem fired up, as always. Park Center not losing their energy. And that one just a miscommunication on Totino-Grace's side.
McGaster with the serve. Almost crawled over, and let's see. Going to be a point for TG.
Yeah,
That was a fortunate one, but
yeah. I think just hit McIntyre and rolled all the way out of bounds. That's kind of cool.
yeah, that was an unusual one because at first I wasn't sure if it had even gotten over at all, but obviously it must have hit McIntyre, the blocker. Too long with that one.
And Park Center giving it all they got now. Possible new setter.
Yeah, they've started to make some a little bit careless hitting errors down the stretch here, though, too, it feels like. Good serve. Let's see if they can recover. Yeah, they get it over. Tips down the middle, and wow, Dunsmore a little bit fortunate again there. They got it over, and then McIntyre trying to attack that one, didn't get it back.
And it's hard to time those overpasses, and sometimes they just don't go your way. And
great serve there, and now a set and match point chance for Totino-Grace. Lauren Falcon has been a serving weapon here this evening and trying to complete a sweep. Ooh, strong hit. Blomberg, though, dug it up. Rolls will get it over. Big swing, but too long for the Zurich.
oh, she was going for it. She just really saw the opportunity, and there was a hole in the block. She went for it, but just didn't quite swing down.
Hebler with the serve here. Ooh, near collision. Carlson will send it over. Tip. Ooh, that one was probably going to be out, but McGeehan will end up getting match point there for Totino-Grace as the Pirates reaching up and playing that one. And so Totino-Grace getting the victory here, their fourth of the season. And I think what they're going to remember most about the night is that comeback in the second set. They didn't have much going well for them. Park Center had their best stretch. They were up by 10, but then Totino-Grace just kind of came back hard and kept serving well, and pretty soon they had caught him.
Yeah, you love to see that from Totino-Grace as a coach. You're like, oh, they have some fight in them, and they can, when time's tough, dig deep, stay disciplined, and look to each other and find their communication again. And on Park Center side, you have that glimpse of, yeah, you have a team here that can put some things together, put some serves together as well. It is and also they have a great middle. They have some options that just couldn't quite close it. So both sides have some great ups and also some things they obviously want back, and some opportunities they can capitalize on in practice. But for both, it just seems as though it was a really even good match, and at the end just couldn't quite get it for Park Center.
There's your scores, 25-15, 22, and 8 as Totino-Grace gets the sweep over Park Center. Thanks to both coaches for their help this evening. Kelsey Rice mic'd up here tonight. Andrea Emery coming back after COVID to coach here for the Pirates. For Janae Alderson and all of our CCX crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. Again, it's Totino-Grace sweeping Park Center.